Chapter 66. The Pirates. He grins as the butcher bitch's nerve breaks and she runs. He flexes his will and is suddenly before her. There's a scream of terror from the monster before she slams into him. "Did you think you were getting away?" "Oh no, 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 no. You're done, you idiot. It's finished. Yvette Carbon, these are you last few minutes alive. I hope it was worth it," he says as she backs away from him in horror. Her eyes dart from side to side, but there's no cover, nowhere to hide. See, now this is an interesting thing to consider. If you hadn't murdered everyone here for your own sick amusement, you'd have somewhere to hide now. You might have been able to get away. Funny how things turn out, isn't it? He asks as she scampers away from him and trips. He sighs and shakes his head. "Get up and get your focus back. Calm down and face me. Just because you're going to die doesn't mean it won't be with dignity." What? I'm not like you. I don't like my opponents helpless. You're going to fight me to the last and you're going to die. Now fight. He orders and she gapes at him. You're mad. No, that's you. Me? I'm stone cold, sober, and sane enough to know exactly what I'm doing. Which is? She demands as she looks for an escape route. He points right to her camera drone. Your latest batch of sadism is being interrupted by someone who can and will stop you. If that doesn't help the people of this world sleep at night, then nothing will. He answers and she pauses, then twitches. Her stance goes from terrified to furious as the twitching grows more and more violent. "You!" She snarls as the twitching overtakes her entirely. "You!" She teleports to reappear mid-grab as she seizes his shoulders and lifts him to bite down on his throat. She then begins to shake, letting go of his shoulders and howling through her clenched teeth. He vanishes from her grip and reappears behind her. She whirls around to meet him and is backhanded away with contempt. "Really? You lose your temper and become an animal? Perhaps I should keep your head intact? There may be something medically curious to bring about that form of dementia." He notes, and the crazed lunatic leaps at him again. He redirects the furious charge and sends her tumbling. "At least try to put up a fight. Mindlessly attacking won't do a thing." "Gra!" She screams before throwing her fist into the ground, and he steps aside as the place he stood erupts as axiom blades launch themselves from the earth. "Sloppy. You didn't shake and shiver when you were on the giving end of pain and humiliation." He chides her. "Where's the confidence and power in front of the pain of others? Didn't you say something about feeding off pain?" He asks her, and she lunges out with a blade of axiom. "Do you have nothing else? Is this all you've got?" Then it starts to rain. The drops fall hard and heavy, and he slowly turns up to the sky. Power streaks along the roiling bottoms of the dark clouds, and Yvette tries to run. Then there's a visible twist of axiom, and she teleports to trip and stumble at Franklin's feet. He casually puts a foot on her back, and she tries to claw her way forward and away from him. He then turns and looks directly to where Thunderthought is hiding. "Stay out of this. You'll be dead soon enough. Don't you worry," he assures the mass murderess. "That's right, Yvette. I know about your rival in depravity watching us. I was aware the whole time." Literally glowing with fury, Yvette pushes herself off the ground. "No one calls me by that name." Then clearly, senility has taken its toll. "I've used your name before Gurley. And for it you will die." "Sure, Yvette, sure." He mocks her, and she vanishes before reappearing. She throws her head back and howls, a pulse of axiom erupting from her and rushing outwards. The rain shifts and is pushed away from her position before she stomps down, and then an enormous howl answers her from all around them. Franklin turns to regard the now shuddering and rolling bones assembling themselves into completed skeletons. "Interesting. You might be able to duel me to a stop, but can you face an army?" she snarls. "Yes," he says simply, and she growls. "It's 2,000 on 1. What do those odds say?" She screams at him as the horizon begins churning with the reanimated bodies of her army's worth of victims. That you've been up to this for about 20 years as you averaged 1,000 murders per decade, he notes in a complete deadpan. That's it? Well, your technique is pretty sloppy, only able to animate things you yourself killed. He notes before suddenly a pulse tears out of his frame and rends its way through the landscape. The ground beneath them both shudders and shakes. Also, you're shit at paleontology and imagination. Geography, too. Did you know that most of this continent used to be underwater? That the fertile soil we stand on was fertile for a reason? What? Yvette asks before the ground under them shatters in a cascade of stones, mud, and earth. Gigantic, segmented bones soar into the sky with wordless roars. Fossils, you idiot. Though I do thank you for teaching me how to reanimate bones. It's a very interesting trick, he remarks as the fossils of giant sea serpents dive onto the frail forms of murder victims and shatter them into splinters. So yay, 10 on 2,000 is still in my favor, he remarks before blinking as the darkness turns to daylight with dozens of simultaneous blasts of lightning. Ah well, easy come easy go. He remarks still unfazed as the smoldering shards of his skeletal serpents careen into the ground around him. He takes a step and avoids an enormous rib that plows through where he was standing with a gleeful smile on his face. Now then, where were we? Ah yes, your death, he remarks and swats aside an enormous blade of axiom followed by grabbing her wrist to hold her back as she tries to stab him with a sharpened bone. What does it take to kill you? She screams in his face. Look, I'd love to drag out your pain, sorrow, and humiliation like you did to so many others, but Miss Finnell over there is clearly eager for her own shallow grave, and I'm an accommodating sort, he says as he begins to breathe deeply. With every deep breath, he glows brighter and brighter as Yvette staggers more and more. He lets her go and back up as he visibly breathes in the axiom around them both, and she falls to her knees. No, please, no, the axiom. It hurts so much. Give it back. I must have it back. She chokes out as her lungs are suddenly far too inefficient and she becomes painfully aware she hasn't eaten in weeks. Her starving body screams in agony as she's suddenly dying of hunger and dehydration. The weight of her body drags her down as her senses swim and her mind starts to dull from a lack of sleep. You want this? He asks, forcing his collected axiom into a glowing orb in his right hand that draws in the surrounding axiom even harder. With enormous effort, she lifts her head and nods. A light, then. He clenches the orb of raw power and it sparks with energy before going jagged. Take it! He hisses as he forces her head up with his left hand and rams the orb into her chest with his right. Take it all! She screams. Not in rage, not in madness, not in frustration. She screams in purest agony as she feels what he's doing to her. She grabs at his wrist in a vain hope to push him away as her blood quickly boils, then shrivels away as the axiom takes so much of her while phasing back into the background field. She ages centuries in seconds, and before she can even take a breath to fill her lungs once more, she's reduced to a withered corpse of brittle bones with nearly ossified skin stretched over it. Then the skin grows brittle and the rain washes it away to leave nothing but a crispy skeleton still holding onto the wrist of her killer. Franklin wordlessly pulls his right arm away and the entire skeleton minus the skull still held in his left falls to the mud-strewn ground. Such a waste. You could have chosen so many better paths and you chose to end like this. He shakes his head. Alas, I could not make you suffer enough for all that you've done to others, he remarks, holding up the skull in contemplation. A look of rage crosses his face and he crushes the skull in his hand. Hopefully your delivery to the afterlife will calm their brutalized souls now that they can take you apart themselves. Hey man, you all right? I got you on screen here and you look like you're about to cry. J3 sends over the comm. It's nothing, J3. Nothing I could have done anything about. There's just, if I'd somehow gotten here before I keep imagining myself stopping this madness, but she's been killing people longer than I've been alive. She's been using Axiom to hurt people longer than I knew it even existed. It's stupid, but it'll be a while till I can get it out of my head. Just so you know, that little speech got caught on tape, and Thunderthought's looking like she's chomping at the bit to jump you. J3 tells him. Good to know. Is the pop gun ready? Just waiting for your signal. J3 says, and the darkness turns into day again as a blast of lightning races over the ground and slams into Franklin. The light persists, and as every eye adjusts, they're treated to the view of Franklin holding back the bolt of lightning with a single finger. A finger he then uses to flick the raw electrical energy away, unfazed and unimpressed by the attack. All right then, if you're so impatient, get out here, and I'll get to killing you too, Miss Fennel. Or do you prefer Gem? He asks. And there's a blast of lightning, and suddenly, the enormous Lidis is looming over him. Her many bodies are seemingly younger than he is, and several of them are outright fondling themselves as they regard him. One of them, and only one of them, has distinct markings, tattoos engraved along her head as if she had hair of some kind. Clearly, it's the important one. This central being shoves aside the others and lowers herself to his level. Well, aren't you a skilled little killer? Love the show. Tattoos are new. Do they mean anything, or do you just try for pain whenever you can? Oh, a fan! How much have you seen? She asks, as she begins to walk around him, her every step leaving a crater in the mud as the rain continues to pour down, and whenever she steps on one of the serpent bones, it crumbles under her weight. I went through your greatest hits. I know your sickening sense of entertainment, he says flatly as she moves behind him. He doesn't bother turning to see her. He can sense her just fine. Now, don't be rude. Otherwise, this big girl might think you plan on being unfriendly. The marked body remarks as the others giggle, jeer, or gossip among themselves. Clearly, you haven't been listening. There's nothing friendly about this interaction. He's not even looking at her at this point. Passive-aggressive, aren't you? She asks with a wide smile as the marked body leans over him and looks him clean in the eyes from above. What part of this is passive? I'm actively visualizing your death as we speak, he says before channeling Axiom and flicking her in the forehead. Her marked body flops backwards and drags the whole of her being into a tumbling roll across the churned mud and broken bones littering the landscape. She slams her clawed legs into the ground and skids into the burned-out remains of a farmhouse. It shatters against her and she screams in fury. Franklin turns and watches her evenly, even as he points towards the still hovering camera drone that Yvette brought. The stream it's showing the world of nothing but its mistress's broken and burnt bones goes wild for a moment before refocusing on him as its new master. It soars behind him, giving the view of the insane Lidis, promising death to the impertinent human who lets out a slight snicker in response.